The newest set just around the corner, or actually already out at this point, I decided to test some of the new decks and some of the new support in the TCG. So hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, I went through and tested the 4 major decks that received support, or in the newest set, Dreaded Conspiracy and Master Duel, and we're gonna show you basically how they work and how they function to determine whether or not you want to invest in these decks. So let's quickly do the decks and what they do. So here is the first one, Labyrinth. Labyrinth is expected to be a pretty decent deck list, mostly due to the fact that it's really good in the TCG, and it was really good in the OCG as well. So yeah, that's basically why we're expecting it. There are 2 versions. This is the version that I think is going to be the better version, that being the IKEA Labyrinth, or the Furniture Labyrinth, which utilizes Stovey Torby and Chandelier, as well as Coup Clock, in order to basically play on the opponent's first turn, similar to how like Tier would do, except significantly worse. But more importantly, it is able to then actually utilize these effects to go for to like set up your cards more efficiently, and then generate a whole bunch of advantage by basically cycling these cards multiple times. So I'll show you how that works, and just give you a basic rundown of the deck. Alright, so here we are going second, and I am actually playing against Branded. Now this was played on Yu-Gi-Oh! Omega in the TCG, but this is technically game 2, and so I am playing side-decked cards, because that's basically what you do in the TCG. However, this is just kind of to show you more or less how the deck functions, and what its overall game plan is. Obviously, I could play with like Maxi in the OCG and stuff like that, but that's such a very different format from what we have. At least it's somewhat similar. Some of the decks are similar in the TCG, so I figured, hey, we'll play in the TCG instead. It doesn't really matter either way. They're very different formats, and yeah, there's not really a way to really test in Master Duel without just playing Master Duel. So yeah, this is just kind of to give you an idea of how this deck works. So we're going to start off here with the Ariana, which will then trigger our Lady Labyrinth. Now, if you don't know what this card does, while you control a set card, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. Also, it cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects. Pretty cool. Also, you can only use the volume effect once per turn if a Labyrinth card or effect is activated, or a normal trap card was activated, except this card. You can special summon this card from your hand in defense position. And when a normal trap is activated, you can set another normal trap directly from your deck. Cool. So basically what this means is that if you activate an effect, you're able to freely special summon out your Lady Labyrinth. Then if you activate one of your trap cards, you're able to summon or set another trap card from your deck, which means you can play a whole bunch of one-ofs, which is why the deck list was playing a whole bunch of one-of spell traps. So, big chain here goes on. They're going to go for the Grand Granole. I'm going to go for the Ash Blossom. They're going to go for the Called By. I'm going to go for the Coup Clock, knowing that they no longer have Called By because it's at 1 in the TCG, which then allows me to utilize my Welcome Labyrinth the turn it was set. If you don't know, Coup Clock has the ability to, it discards itself, and then you can activate a normal trap card the turn it was set if you control a Labyrinth monster. Also, if a card is sent to the graveyard to activate the effect of a normal trap or a Labyrinth card, you can add this card to your hand or special summon it. So it even fulfills its own requirement technically for its for the set card. So there's that. Anyway, out comes their big guy. Don't worry about what this guy does, but we're gonna go for the Welcome Labyrinth here, which will then activate. We will then activate because of the Coup Clock, which then will trigger the Lady Labyrinth, and we do have to chain it to the activation of our Welcome Labyrinth, and we're going to set the Eradicator Epidemic Virus, because, hey, we don't want them to have Branded Fusion. We also go for the Lovely Lady here off of the Welcome Labyrinth, and then we're just going to set that Welcome Labyrinth back, and then I'm just going to go to the end phase here. In the draw phase, of course, I'm going to activate my effects here. We're going to grab up the big Welcome. We're going to go for the Eradicator. And we hit a triple tack. That was it. But, of course, they have the Aluber, so not the greatest for us there. But I do call spell, obviously. So we have the big Welcome and the Welcome Labyrinth, so I'm feeling pretty okay in terms of follow-up. They're going to grab the Branded Fusion, activate the effect of the Branded Fusion, and then go into For some reason, Lubellion, again, not the greatest of players, but alas, they're also playing Dark Magician for the Dragoon, because Dragoon is not banned in the TCG. They're going to walk over our Lovely Lady, they're going to walk over our Ariana, and then pass the turn. We're going to draw for turn, and in main phase 1, we're going to normal summon out the Chandelier. The reason we do this is because Welcome Labyrinth specifically requires us to have a Fiend in order to activate it, so that's why we go for that there. We then special summon out the Lady Labyrinth, and then proceed to activate Big Welcome. Big Welcome then allows us to trigger the Lady Labyrinth, setting Dimensional Barrier to call fusions so that it can't really do anything, and yeah, there you go. If you're wondering what this guy does, he doesn't do anything. Yeah, he just doesn't do anything right now. Cool. If it's sent to the graveyard, it becomes problematic, so I don't want to do that. Anyway, we're going to go for the Big Welcome and then special summon out our Lovely Lady and then bounce one of our monsters back to the hand. This will trigger the Lovely Lady and as well as a whole bunch of other cards. So we're going to reset the Eradicator with the Lovely Lady and then just walk in and deal with that one monster and then pass the turn. So we now have the Dimensional Barrier, Eradicator, and that's basically it. But we do have Welcome, or Big Welcome. Now I haven't talked about this card up to this point, but real quick, you special summon a Labyrinth monster and then return a monster you control to the hand. You can also special summon that Labyrinth monster from anywhere. So normal Welcome Labyrinth, not big, but Welcome Labyrinth can go from hand, can only summon from deck. This one can go from hand, deck, or grave, making it a lot more versatile. As you saw, we brought back that the Lovely Lady here from the grave, whereas normally we wouldn't do that with the Welcome. Also, in the grave, you can banish it, then target a Fiend monster, then target a Fiend monster you control. Or, if you control a level 8 or higher Fiend, you can target a card your opponent controls instead and return it to the hand. So, this does quite a few things. It could trigger things like your Lovely Labyrinth, or, more importantly, it has the ability to then allow you to bounce a card, which is very, very nice. If you have one of these big the big ladies, you're then able to deal with your opponent's cards from the grave, which is very, very nice. However, it is a hard once per turn on both of its effects. You can only use one of the effects. My opponent goes to the battle phase, we're going to bounce a card, then we're going to pop the Lubellion. My opponent concedes, realizing that the game is over, and there you go. That's how the deck functions. Next up is the next trap deck, which I do expect to be the second most highly played from the new set, which is Trap Trick. Trap Trick gets a whole bunch of cards from this. I believe they receive Pudica, Arachnocampa, and Holatea, all three of which are wildly important. No, they also get Garden and I think Ping and Alamaris and Oedipus and Colaria. They receive a whole bunch of cards. I don't know exactly what, but I do know Holatea is one of those cards, and it really does bring the strategy all together. So basically, the idea is rank 4 spam, summoning out Rafflesia, because, hey, this isn't a hard once per turn, so you can summon out both of these, and then just gaining advantage off of Sarah in order to set additional trap holes, and just preventing your opponent from playing the game through trap holes. So, yeah, I'll show you one of those replays now. Alright, so here we are going first, and we're playing a whole bunch of cards. Anyway, we're going to start off with Pot of Prosperity, and we're going to grab off of the top the Arachnocampa. We're going to then normal summon the Pudica, which will grab up Garden. Garden allows us to grab an additional normal summon, which is why we're playing the Pudica. Pudica basically just searches out the field spell. It also has the ability to, if it's special summoned, target a card your opponent controls, or a special summon monster your opponent controls, and banish it, and then during the next standby phase they can special summon one of their banished monsters. So there's that. But yeah, Pudica then allows us to grab basically an extra normal. So we're gonna go and go for the Sarah here, because that's the main play, then go for the Murmello, which is then going to search out the Holatea. I do make a bit of a mistake here going for the Holatea, but it's fine. We're gonna go for the Floodgate here, and then we're going to special summon out the Holatea. If you don't know what Holatea does, you can activate this card the turn it was set by discarding a normal trap. It just special summons itself as a level 4 Plant Earth monster, but it is a trap card, which does also trigger the Sarah. So as you can see, Sarah is activating. If you don't know what Sarah does, if a normal trap is activated, it special summons a Trap Trick. If a Trap Trick monster is activated, you can set a trap hole, a whole normal trap directly from the deck. So this allows you to set any of your other cards, but yeah, so we set the Floodgate Trap Hole earlier there off of the Murmello effect, which searched out the Holatea, and then Holatea special summoned itself, sending the Treacherous Trap Hole to the graveyard, which then allowed us to go and activate the secondary effect of the Sarah, which will then now special summon. Also, Holatea has a graveyard effect which won't come up, but it does come up quite often. It just doesn't come up in this game. But yeah, it basically allows you to special summon a Traptrix from the grave, which is pretty nice. Anyway, so we're gonna go for the Rafflesia here. Then we go for the we special summon the Arachnocampa, not Arachnocampa, the Dionea, which then resets Treacherous on special, then Arachnocampa special summons itself, we go for the Rafflesia, we then go for the second Rafflesia, and we just pass the turn. So it's double Rafflesia, both of which have the ability to, basically, if your opponent activates anything that would trigger a trap hole, you can then activate the Rafflesia, send the trap hole, or the equivalent trap hole, the activatable trap hole, from the deck, and then activate it as if it was Rafflesia's effect. So there's that. My opponent is going to normal summon the Xiaomin. We're going to Floodgate it immediately because we don't want them to search, which will then trigger the Dionea, or will special summon the Dionea. Dionea will then reset the Floodgate Trap Hole, and then we will reset the Holatea as well off of the Sarah. They're going to go for the Gold Pride Better Luck next time, to the which we will Ash, and then my opponent's going to set an additional card, and I'm like, well, this Trap Hole is going to be banished due to Dionea's effect, so I'm just going to activate it, and since my card is protected due to Rafflesia, we're fine there. We draw Mantis for turn, and then we're just going to special summon the Holatea, trigger the Murmello to special summon itself, popping their back row, and then trigger the Sarah as well to set another Holatea. We're going to go for the ping to grab up the Arachnocampa, normal summon the Mantis, grab up Murmello, and then link off into the Antipus. Now, Antipus, basically, its main effect is you boost all of your Traptrick monsters by 1,000 attack. So this basically just means that you can OTK with this. That's mostly what it's used for, but it does also have the effect to target and to destroy some face-up cards as well as negating them. Or it doesn't target. It just negates the whole field and can also pop a card. Anyway, at this point, we're just going to special summon the Arachnocampa and go to battle and to deal well over lethal. Good game. Alright, the next deck on our list is Generator. Generator has the ability, or has a whole bunch of new cards, mostly Vala. We know that this is coming. Most of these other cards are also speculation. I don't think we know all of these cards, but we do know Vala, I believe. Leviathan was revealed. But most likely Vala is also coming. If you don't know what Generator does, it's a level 9 archetype that centers around Boss Stage. Boss Stage gives you the ability to special summon if your opponent draws a card, one of your Generator monsters from your deck in defense position. Now, notably, it does only special summon from deck, which is a bit of a problem, but that's fine. Also, if you special summon a Generator monster during your opponent's turn, you grab a whole bunch of tokens, and then they are destroyed during the end phase. So that's the main game plan. However, they now have a bit more that they can do. Vala has the ability to special summon itself, as well as just by pitching another Generator card you control. Also, if it is special summoned, you can special summon a Generator from your hand or grave, I believe, right? Yeah, hand or grave. So this does allow you the ability to have multiple level 9s on your field, and it means that oftentimes your level 9s are now no longer bricks, which is fantastic. So yeah, that's basically it. Also, on top of that, we have a whole bunch of other things that are more helpful. Being able to special summon a level 9 from your hand with Monstrosity. I don't know if this is actually out in the game, but there you go, pretty nice. But yeah, basically the overall game plan is to make Leviathan. Leviathan then has the ability to basically tribute itself to actually go for the main boss monster, which is Jormungandr. However, having this card and going through this card is pretty nice because it also gives you just the ability to activate its effects, because you tribute it, you special summon a non-fairy Generator monster, and then you can attach cards from any field and or grave that is to that special summon monster up to the number of materials this card had. So it means that basically you are attaching up to 2 cards, potentially even 3, to your Jormungandr. Now, if you don't know what this card does, it's very good as well. Jormungandr triggers specifically the activation requirement of Boss Stage, which is very nice, because what it does, each player draws a card, then each player attaches a card they drew or on their field to this card, which means you're basically cycling your opponent's deck, which isn't exactly the greatest, but it also becomes bigger with each one of those attached materials, becoming 1,000 times larger. So there's that. All of the other effects are pretty nice as well. Horror is a negate, Mardell is a search, Utgard I believe is a banish, Nidhogg I believe is also it's a special summon negate, and stuff like that. We're also playing Diviner of the Herald as well as Trios because we are playing a lot of fairies. Hey, this happens to be a fairy. Hey, this also happens to be a fairy. So yeah, both of these are very strong. These are also the best 2 generators, so there's that. But yeah, let's hop into the duel and show you how the deck performs. Alright, so here we are going second against Blackwing. And yeah, away they go. They're gonna activate... I'm sorry, hold on. Prohibition. Yeah, they decided to activate Prohibition, call evenly. Which is very, very funny. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, we're going to, they're going to go for the Imperm on our Diviner, which is fine because, hey, we hard drew the Trios. So we're going to activate the Trios effect, tributing the Diviner, which will then special summon out the Sprite, the DD Sprite. This then allows us to go for the Baron, to the which we will then try to pop the back row. They will infip it, and I'm like, that's totally fine. We then get to go and activate the Vala effect as well, and Vala will then activate its effect, to the which they will then infip, and I'm just like, okay, cool, that's fine. I'm just going to special summon out with Monstrosity. Now, if you don't know, if this card is absolutely insane, you can target a level 9 monster you control and special summon 2 from the deck of different types and attributes, so it's very, very strong. So we're going to summon out the Har and the Mardell, to the which my opponent will then concede. Sorry, that was a bad game. I didn't really get to just showcase that deck, but honestly, the deck just kind of summons out a whole bunch of guys and utilizes Vala in order to go into the Jormungandr there. I could show you a duel that I lost where I did get the combo, but it honestly wasn't all that great. I never actually ended up using the boss stage, but hopefully this gives you an idea of how the deck functions, and hopefully you already know how boss stage works. As for the last deck we have here is Dark World. So we know that the fusion spell is, or the fusion monster is coming, so we can expect things like Rainbow, Overking of the Dark World, as well as the fusion spell and stuff like that to also arrive in Master Duel. So there's that. Now, this deck is very... It's just solitaire. You just play by yourself, basically. There is a whole lot of recursion that this deck does. Not recursion, drawing. You just draw through your entire deck, so a lot of the side deck cards you are more likely to see just due to being able to draw a myriad of cards, and that's basically it. Also, we're playing Lava Golem in here because it's a fiend, which happens to pair well with a lot of this stuff. A lot of the other Dark World cards as well are non-hard once per turns, which means you're able to just generate a lot of advantage off of them. This guy searches the field spell, which is a non-hard once per turn on that effect. I believe you can only special summon Genta once per turn though. Yeah, but the effect to add is a soft once per turn. In fact, it's not a once per turn. So yeah, as long as you have Genta, you are able to then search out your Gates. Gates also isn't a hard once per turn, which then allows you to also discard and draw. You are also able to activate Grapha as many times as you want. As long as it's in the grave, you can special summon him. Same with Rainbow. Same with Snow. Snow is a search, non-once per turn. This also pairs very well with the Dangers because the Dangers are able to discard a card in order to special summon a monster. However, normally the game plan with the, or at least the game plan with the new Dark Worlds is draw your entire deck, give your opponent the Ceruli, which would then discard a card from your hand, which would discard the Silva. Silva would then special summon itself and force your opponent to discard 2 cards. You do this twice, they're now down to 1 card, and then their card that they draw for turn. Now that's minus any hand traps that they would have potentially, but basically almost always they are down to 1 card and 1 card to draw for turn, so they're down to 2 cards, and then you basically just sit on a whole bunch of big monsters, like for example in Apollosa and the like. So that's basically what it does. Let me show you how this deck works. Alright, so here we are going first, and we're going to start off here with the Dark World dealing, and we do get to pitch the Snow. Snow can then grab up any monster. We're going to grab up the Rainbow, or the Genta, grab up the Field Spell, and yada yada. I'm just going to kind of zoom through this because it's going to be very long, and it's going to take forever if I don't. So I'm just going to kind of zoom through this. Rainbow effect is then going to search out the Grappa. We're then going to special summon out a monster, which then allows us to go for the Dugaris, pitching a whole bunch more cards. We're going to go for the... sorry, hold on. We're going to go for the Zephyra, then go for the Mothman here, and then we're going to activate the effect of our Danger in order to special summon itself out, and then go for the Saryuya. We're then going to special summon out the Danger Bigfoot, because we happen to draw the Eradicator Epidemic Virus, and then grab the Tsuchinoko and just kind of pass on that. I knew that my opponent was playing Stun, so that's why the Eradicator is in here, and I called Trap and hit a few cards, and that's basically all that we have for that. But yeah, they're going to go and activate the effect, grab up the Lilith, and then activate the effect again, and grab up the Lightning Storm. They're going to go for the Lightning Storm on the back row. I don't know if that is necessarily the correct effect, but alas, they also set an evenly matched, which is very, very funny. We're going to go to battle phase, deal 28, and then I'm just going to pass because I know that they have an evenly match. They're going to draw for turn the Just Desserts, draw 2 more, hit another spell, or hit another monster, but alas, they also get Lightning Storm, so they're going to Lightning Storm us. We know that this is a burn card of some kind, so there's that. I'm going to go for the Tsuchinoko, just special summon itself. I don't know why, but yeah, I also draw really poorly here. They also draw really poorly because they draw a trap, and then I get to destroy it. Also, off of Allure, I get nothing. So yeah, cool, great, fantastic. I have a lot of cards that are absolutely live here, and I just happened to see none of them, so oof. Anyway, they're down to 1 more battle phase, and at this point they just realized that the game is over due to a Tsuchinoko hitting them multiple times. Yeah, I honestly don't know what this game plan is. So yeah, I'm not too sure what the game plan is now with the Dark World due to the Silva being banned. So Apollosa stuff, I really don't know. This is just kind of me showing you the ins and outs of what this deck can potentially do. As you can see, it's pretty easy to get a lot of materials onto their field. Things like Rainbow and Grapha I used very poorly, but you can cycle these guys multiple times in order to get multiple points or multiple more monsters into your hand and onto your field, which is very nice. Both of them bounce cards, I believe, to the hand, which is very cool. No, I think Grapha sends, right? No, yeah, it does return to the hand. I was like, no, that doesn't sound right. Anyway, also, if your opponent max sees you, you just kind of win the game. Like, on the spot. You just deck them out. That's basically the plan. Hope that they have max C. I really don't know what else this deck does. It can play through a lot, but it's entirely just kind of like spinning its wheels to do nothing. There isn't really a good game plan outside of Apollosa. Like, it's just make a big Apollosa, pray. I mean, Grapha is nice. It does, you know, force your opponent to basically discard one of your cards, which again with Silva or something like that is very, very strong. But honestly, the deck's not all that great. And yes, like, Grapha's good, and you can very easily OTK just due to having like big bodies like Grapha and Rainbow and the Grapha Fusion and stuff like that. But all in all, it's not. I really don't see it being all that impactful. But yeah, that's going to be it for this episode. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. And if you did and found this useful, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for this.